Mark Russell completes his trilogy of amazing Superman books with a world-ending finale that brings out all of the stops for a great Superman story. Russell continues to make this universe and this Superman his own, taking the hero in a really awesome direction that removes him from the usual superhero world and puts him in a different avenue to help save humanity with his great intellect and alien technology. I thoroughly enjoyed Superman working out that being a hero was limiting with his abilities and what he can do, and Russell takes the age-old adage of son becomes the father becomes the son, and applies that to the hero's duties quite literally and turns Superman into the world's greatest scientist. This all culminates with Superman winning his never-ending battle and saving the world in a truly heroic and pretty surprising way, embodying the selflessness and kindness of the hero wholly. On top of Russell's fantastic Superman characterization, his supporting cast is just as amazing. His take on Batman, creating the Joker, is totally original and plays off of Bruce's own paranoia and need to control the situation, which in turn causes his villains to get smarter and more daring in how they go about acting, leading to the birth of the Joker. I also very much like that it's very much not a Batman-Joker dynamic, but a Joker-Bruce Wayne dynamic, which is something that's very interesting and not really done all that much. The Lex of this universe as well is brilliant, building off of classic archetypes the character has been in before, like the shady businessman or scientist or schemer, and basically turning him from a Superman villain into a Batman villain, with the simple notion being that Bruce Wayne has money and Lex wants all of the money in the world. It's really a simple explanation for what Lex is doing throughout these books, and I love it. The evolution of him becoming a Jordan Belfort, Tony Robbins motivational speaker at the end to get what he wants as the end of the world looms is both sad and hilarious, as the character can't see past his own ego and see that the world is just being destroyed and he has the capabilities to help save it, but he won't because it's all about him, and it's just utterly brilliant. Michael Allred finished out the story with more fantastically colourful and bright artwork, painting the end of the world more colourful than I think anyone actually has before. Michael's golden and silver age lean to his character designs is wonderful and really gives Russell's wildly creative DC Comics universe a distinctive look and feel, really giving it some invigorating life and making it stand out among the other Elseworlds books. Superman Space Age Issue 3 was a spectacular conclusion to this Elseworld story, encapsulating everything I love about the Man of Steel while also making some really interesting changes to the character and the world around him, resulting in a truly unique retelling of the hero's life and journey. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Superman Space Age Issue 3 heads to the alternate Wasteland universe, where the Superman of that universe sits alone, as Brainiac tells us that existence is precarious, with many worlds like this one being destroyed by its inhabitants, aliens, or just dumb luck, leading to billions being snuffed out in an instant forever. In 1982 Metropolis, Clark meets with Pryor again in the bar. Glad to see him again since he had thought he just imagined him. Pryor asks if Clark thought he was a manifestation of his guilt or impotence, but Clark tells him he thought he was just a bad dream. Pryor finds himself impressed with the good Clark has been doing to save the world, but it will be all for naught. Clark refuses to be counted out just yet, but Pryor tells him that there is no use since the universe will be crushed to quantum dust just like the rest. Pryor asks if the hero has seriously thought that he had defeated Brainiac for good, but the villain is more intelligent than the hero can fathom, and all of these universes are the same, thinking that they have the magic lottery ticket that will allow them to stop what is coming, but they don't, and the humans are the worst for it, since they don't believe it because it's true, they believe it because it is flattering to them to be the hero. Pryor leaves the bar, and later, the Justice League survey the new and improved Hall of Justice, used to accommodate the many more heroes who have joined their ranks. Superman finds a kinship between him and Hawkman, welcoming the hero to the team as one son of a lost world to another. Clark gets the team meeting underway, telling them all about Pryor, and Wonder Woman and Batman back Superman up, confirming Pryor's words to be true. John Stewart also knows they are true, as the Green Lantern quantum observatories have spotted dead universes adjacent to theirs, believing them to be the work of the Anti-Monitor. Manhunter asks if they can stop such a force, but John tells him that they cannot, stopping his briefing as the Flash is busy playing with a ship in a bottle, distracting the others. Barry tells him that he can multitask and it's only thing keeping him awake during these meetings. John goes on to explain who the Anti-Monitor is and how, thanks to his path of destruction, the Guardians suspect that they have only maybe a year or two left before they are shrouded in darkness for good, and there is nothing they can do. Later in Alpha Centauri B, Superman visits Brainiac, who sent a signal to the hero to meet him there. Superman learns that they have chosen his Earth to remain unharvested by them thanks to its lack of resources, and in exchange, they wish Superman to join them in what they are calling the Matterverse, the place where they are storing all of the resources from the worlds they have harvested. One of the Brainiacs says that when the time comes, they will send a small portal to Superman and it will take him and only him to safety. Clark has some questions, asking if in this Matterverse there is an Earth. The Brainiacs reveal there is, but everyone on it is dead, save for its Superman. The Brainiacs think that thanks to no humans, this world is rebounding nicely and Superman could thrive without the human distraction there. In a Metropolis prison, Lex asks what's happening with his company, learning his LexCorp personal hygiene division is dropping in sales thanks to no one wanting to buy his shampoo. Lex, however, wants to talk about something interesting as the warden comes by, asking if Lex needs more iced tea. Lex shoos him away as he fires his lawyers, bringing in his new lawyer who will make sure he gets out of prison. Clark meanwhile heads back to Smallville and finds his father shucking corn on the porch. Pa asks how his work is going, but Clark tells him that the world is coming to an end in a year or two, so what would he do? Pa thinks he'd just spend less time shucking corn, but he never became a corn farmer because he thought he was going to save the world or make a huge difference in people's lives. He tells his son he does what he does because it is who he is, and he thinks that if the world did end tomorrow, he wouldn't do anything different since he was there with his son and wife, and that's all he ever wanted in life. He tells his son that he can help as many people as he can, but he can't forget who he is, telling his son to get back to shucking corn. Clark thinks he'll have all the corn done in no time, and Pa agrees, but then his son would miss out on all his corn-based wisdom. Later on, Clark enjoys time with his family, having a snowball fight with John, Lois, and the holographic Jor-El. Clark thanks his wife for everything she's done, as Clark writes in his journal later on, wishing that he had more moments like these, since there is no such thing as being immortal, that when the end finally comes, you don't wish you could have lived just a little longer. Clark's night is upended when he gets a phone call from his mother, learning that his father died from a heart attack. Clark attends the funeral with his family, writing that Pa's heart attack was a treatable condition, but even he was so powerless to stop the monster everyone fails to see because they are with them every day. Clark decides that no one will ever suffer like that again, using what little time he has left to work with Jor-El and use his great intellect and Kryptonian medicine to help the human race and give them a chance for survival. To devote all his time to this, Superman announces to his friends that he is stepping down from the Justice League, telling them that as a superhero he has done all he can, and it wasn't nearly enough, so he's going to find another way to help the people. Batman tells his friend that he knows he sees the best in everyone, but if and when Superman ever gets distracted thinking about everyone he can't save, he just needs to focus in on the one person, since it's not humanity that matters, it's the people. Clark knows that he'll miss his friends as Batman disappears and Flash appears, giving Clark the ship in a bottle he made earlier. Leaves as quick as he appears as Wonder Woman tells Superman that they will get by since the League was always bigger than one man. Clark thinks they have enough heroes there to fight fire with fire, but Diane reveals that she has always admired Clark because he doesn't fight fire with fire, he fights the darkness with the light. In 1984, Batman continues to rule Gotham by the night as Bruce Wayne rules by day, battling some masked men who he ties up with steel cables before magnetizing them to a staff he deploys, demanding to know who they work for. Bruce returns to the Batcave, utilizing his new facial recognition tech, knowing that if the criminals are in costume, Batman can pick them up, and if they aren't in costume, Bruce Wayne's facial recognition tech picks them up, meaning there is nowhere for them to hide. Bruce begins searching for Oswald Cobblepot and finishing cleaning up the streets, leaving nowhere for people to hide. He knows though that if you pick off all of the low-hanging fruit, the branches only get higher, as at Wayne Enterprises, a creepy clown asks where the daycare is, being directed by the receptionist to the 5th floor. In Metropolis, Perry tells Lois that Lex Luthor is appealing his conviction and Lois is being sent to cover it, demanding that she not bring him Pulitzer bait, but rather the meat and potatoes of the story. Lois heads to the courthouse with Jimmy, not being able to fathom why anyone would want to entertain the fact that Lex could get out. Lois tells Jimmy to stay outside and to get a good shot of Lex when he leaves the courthouse. Lois doesn't understand why the country changed so much, forgetting the lessons of the past and that you can now just buy your way out of trouble. She knows that the roads, cities and farms are all proof of why they need each other as the trial gets underway, and Lex's new lawyer posits that it was the government incompetence that led to this to happen to Lex, who is a pillar of the community and therefore won't sue the state for false imprisonment. Lex is found not guilty and freed, allowed to leave the courthouse as a free man. Lex returns to LexCorp, learning from Otis that they have found kryptonite, Superman's weakness that they managed to get and can use to destroy Superman. Lex hates that idea, equating it to schoolyard bullying and fighting. He asks what Superman is worth, but his people haven't found anything, making Lex know that he's a charity case, wanting to focus on taking over Wayne Enterprises instead. Later on, Bruce goes on the news to tell the people that he has rejected a buyout from LexCorp, which Lex is not too pleased about. The news also reports on whatever happened to Superman, who seemingly has disappeared from the public eye. Superman meanwhile finishes work on his gift to the world, giving an interview where he reveals that he has discovered a way to analyze the quantum DNA signature of every human on Earth, which he will use to see who they were and who they will be, which will give him a chance to cure every disease that they have ever had or will have. He dubs it Project Humanity, and the pills will be available free of charge to everyone. Reporters ask why he's doing this, and Superman says that you don't heal the world through violence, you do it through, well, healing people. And he recently lost someone close to him, someone who had fought in the Pacific, and he had learned from him that sooner or later, life is a battle they all lose, which is why you can't live it like a war. Sometime later in New Mexico, Superman tends to a Project Humanity clinic, helping an old woman with her DNA sample and assuring her her pill will be with her in a few weeks. The woman thanks Superman as Lex meanwhile becomes a motivational speaker, telling the people they don't need money, they need to win since it's all been about winning, only now they use money to keep score of their wins. He spies some people from the healthcare industry, telling them that Superman put them all out of business with his miracle cure and he won without even trying. So what does that say about them? In Smallville, Lois asks Ma Kent how she's holding up after Jonathan's passing, thinking she could always move in with them at the Fortress of Solitude. Ma thinks that she is fine where she is, as outside, Clark shucks corn with his son. John misses his grandpa and Clark says he does as well, but it's impossible not to shuck corn without feeling that he's somewhere nearby judging him. John thinks that his father will never die since he's immortal, but Clark tells him that there is no such thing as immortality and everything has a beginning and an end, and the day comes for them all, which is both death's tragedy and its promise. In Gotham, the news reports on the Pied Piper kidnappings, detailing a man dressed as a clown kidnapping several children of Wayne Enterprise executives. Bruce tells the people that Commissioner Gordon and the police are on it and are doing everything they can, even offering a $10,000 reward for any information on the children. The clown hears the news, telling the captured children that their lives are all worth what he thinks Bruce bets on a round of golf. Bruce tries to track down the clown, finding his facial recognition software doesn't work thanks to the clown's makeup. Bruce comes to the realization that thanks to upping his game with his technology and gadgets, he inadvertently created this criminal. The clown suddenly calls Bruce, revealing that he once had a daughter named Tabitha who was killed in Wayne Towers when the building burned down in an insurance scam. The clown ran into the burning building to try and save his daughter, but his survival instincts kicked in and he fled, but he was badly burned in the process. The clown tells Bruce that something like this changes how you define hope, and if Bruce had lost someone like the clown did, he would do anything to those responsible. Bruce understands, donning his batsuit as he begins to track the call across the city, as the villain tells him that one way or another, Bruce Wayne will pay for killing his daughter. Batman finds the call coming from a payphone, but the clown isn't there. The tied-up Lucius Fox is. Lucius says that he had to do this since the clown has his son, but it's too late as the phone booth explodes, killing Lucius instantly. Batman begins a crusade against the clown, running down every lead or anyone who has ever dressed as a clown in the city until the clown calls again, telling Bruce to come to him alone, and technically, he owes the clown $10,000 since he tipped Bruce off on the whereabouts of the children. Bruce heads to the destroyed Wayne Tower, where he finds the clown has dressed exactly like Bruce has, because he knows the police snipers are watching the building. Gordon and his snipers meanwhile watch the building and can't determine which Wayne is the real one as they move away from the window. The clown removes his Wayne mask, checking out the money Bruce brought and asking if he knows what the world's largest religion is. Bruce doesn't know, so the clown says that it's money and all the people do is worship the silly little bits of paper and each bill is a prayer to a false god. The clown begins burning the money as Bruce demands to let the kids go and he will stay in their place. Bruce, but the clown says he can't bargain with something he already has, hoping Bruce isn't distracted by the burning $1 million he has. The snipers see something burning in the building as the clown knows that if he kills Bruce, they will just replace him, so he's going to hold on to the kids for a while longer, wanting to renegotiate their deal. Bruce demands to know why he's doing this, but the clown states that it's because he wants to see if there is something more important to the people than money, but there won't be, despite knowing that it will save their children. The clown dons his Bruce mask again and makes Bruce put on a clown mask. Bruce knows the police won't stop the clown unless they have to, and until they are sure they have got him, so Bruce jumps on the clown, and as Gordon demands they cease fire, the snipers open fire on the men tussling in the building. Bruce tells himself to do whatever it takes to deny the criminal what he wanted, even if it means letting an innocent person die, because in the end, no one is innocent, as in the hail of gunfire, Bruce Wayne and the clown are both killed. Later, Clark again meets with Pryor, who thinks he's come to gloat. Pryor assures him that he isn't, only there to tell Clark that today is the day the Earth ends. Clark thinks he's shocked, but it's more that he just hoped that this day would never come, and hope is a castle he'll die in. Clark asks if he's there to help, but Pryor can't since it's the proper end of the world, and he is there to apologize for it. Lex meanwhile celebrates his overtaking of Wayne Enterprises now that Bruce Wayne is dead, hinting to Otis that he was the one who paid off the clown to kill Wayne. The giddy Lex says that in one fell swoop, he eliminated his business rival and then won a decades-long battle in the making, as he now owns the patents and contracts to what was the Batsuit. Lex begins to plan to use his pharmaceutical companies that he bought on the cheap to pay off the few congressmen that are left to make the pill Superman made illegal, allowing his businesses to get back on top and the world to finally depend on LexCorp again. Lex is so happy he begins to cry, but his celebration is cut short as the sky catches on fire. At the Hall of Justice, Green Lantern tells the League that their universe has been drained of all its antimatter by the Anti-Monitor, and soon they will all die. Flash is upset that he couldn't finish his Eiffel Tower model, asking where Batman is, as Hawkman asks what they can do. Wonder Woman knows they made that decision the day they entered the building, as at the Fortress of Solitude, Superman prepares a memory crystal made from the DNA of everyone on Earth, compressing billions of quantum DNA particles of information into a piece of glass, an idea he got from the Flash's ship in a bottle. He places the piece of glass in a crystalline sphere along with his journal, signing it off and thanking the human race for everything. The Justice League meanwhile try to save as many people as they can in Washington DC, as Superman's journal says that this, like all previous efforts, are doomed. But then again, the heroes don't do what they do because they expect it to work. They do it because it's who they are. Green Lantern is swallowed by a lava flow, telling the heroes to keep trying as Green Arrow falls from a building. Clark knows that they all came from different backgrounds, but they all stand on the edge of an abyss, and it's easy to look down and forget what's important. Since it's not the abyss, it's that they all stand together. Wonder Woman assures a little girl that she'll be okay as Swamp Thing tries to hold the ground together for as long as he can. The Daily Planet is destroyed and Metropolis is swallowed by lava as Clark writes that in Kryptonian physics, the universe is a fourth dimensional object, and time is just a useful illusion for people, existing to simplify the universe so that the people can experience it. Clark speaks to the people, saying that time is a limitation of existence, not an end to it, and when he looks out onto the horizon beyond the people, it doesn't mean that they cease to exist because he doesn't see them anymore. And the same thing is right about time, since just because they are there for a short time doesn't mean that they are gone for good. It just means he's experiencing parts of time they weren't, and everyone is permanent residents of the object they call the universe, making them all immortal. Superman thinks that if time is an illusion, then death is as well, as he tells Jor-El to transfer all data to the crystal. Jor-El reminds him that he's trying to compress the quantum DNA signatures of billions of people, a process the computer has never done before. Clark doesn't think that this is the way it's meant to end, as Jor-El knows that there is one thing he can do to free up processing power, telling the computer to delete his program and delete all files on him. Superman tries to save his father, but Jor-El tells him that he's become everything he had hoped, and he did for his world what he couldn't do for Krypton. Superman grabs the crystal ship, flying into space where Brainiac's portal awaits him. The Brainiacs think that there is a 62% chance the Kryptonian will join them in their fight against the Anti-Monitor. Superman heads through the portal, his last journal entry wanting to add a few brief notes about how the person reading this came to find it. He says that Brainiac promised to keep the portal open long enough for a single being to cross through, and Brainiac is nothing if not reliable and a survivor, but his only mistake is that Superman must be a survivor as well. Superman, instead of going through the portal, tosses the crystal ball through the opening. The Brainiacs on the other side watch as the crystal comes through, speeding past them towards Earth as the portal seals off Superman's universe forever. The Brainiacs think that they can still fight the Anti-Monitor with a 5% chance of winning, leaving to prepare as down on the wasteland Earth, the lone survivor Superman sees the crystal sphere, catching it and finding that it's Kryptonian tech. He takes it to his fortress, finding that the other Earth's Superman's journal is inside. The pages don't know who will be reading it, but if someone is, it's probably that universe's Superman. Clark details how he knows that this Superman's world was destroyed, and he can only assume that if their Superman is there, hope is what kept him around, and that's why he sent the crystal to the North Pole, hoping that Superman would be there as well. He reveals that the crystal contains the quantum DNA of as many human beings as he could get from every corner of the Earth. Superman activates the crystal in his fortress, bringing back his Lois Lane, as the journal tells him that they will be able to repopulate the Earth with it, and Clark made it his life's work to save the world that took him in. He knows that he has little hope for this plan to succeed, but then again, hope is the lie they make come true. Back on Earth, Clark returns to his fortress and to his family, telling Lois and John he loves them so much as the building collapses in on them. Clark remembers Lois asking him what it means to be a hero, and he's not sure he ever came up with a good answer, but the best one he could come up with is that a hero is someone who never thinks about how much they mean to the world, but realizes just how much the world means to them. Clark dies along with his universe, as in the other universe, life has returned, and through the journal, Clark tells his counterpart to say hi to his mother for him, and to tell his family he loves them, as Superman erects a statue of the other Earth's Superman. A little girl says that she doesn't understand since Superman is still alive. Superman supposes he is, as the journal says that sometimes you save the world, sometimes it saves you, and as his father once told him, there is a part of themselves out there, loose in the world, just waiting to be discovered, and he was right, since that part out there is what they call love.